Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you and Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitron, and I'm here with Gigi Rivera, and we're talking about parental alienation, interference with child custody, and issues that happen when one separates, one has the right to visit their child, and issues occur within that time of visitation. How are we doing today? You doing good?
Good.
How's everything?
It's been good.
It's been good.
It's been good.
I know we've talked before because of the issues that have been going on, especially with interference with child custody.
Yes.
And interference with child custody, it happens not just to men; it happens to women.
Yes, it does.
And so, you know, and I'm glad that you're here to talk about it and show your experiences, because a lot of people say it doesn't happen. It happens throughout. And here in Laredo, we have an issue where the police really could care less that it's going on.
Basically.
And it is the beginnings of something else called parental alienation. And I think, and this is my opinion, parental alienation, the seed is planted by the magistrate, but it is watered every time interfering with child custody, or which is 2503, which is it's a part of the penal code, which is a felony, state felony in the state of Texas. Every time that happens and people complain to the police that it's going on, they're adding water for that alienation to continue. So let's talk about your side, your story.
Well, I've had it happen, I think, more than a handful of times. But I just recently, came across that Penal Code 2503. So now I know what kind of reports to request. Because before it was like, I think the police get bothered when you call them. They're like, oh, okay, here's another report. Oh, here you go, an event or just a report.
An incident.
Nothing happens. Oh, we can't do anything. It's, out of our hands. They don't try to reach out. They don't try to, do more. Oh, call us, again next time. But you call them, but nothing's really getting done.
And I'm going to say this to many folks, when you guys go out there, request a offense report. Do not have the police officer make an incident report, and do not have the police officer say he's only going to make an incident report, even though here in Laredo that's common ground.
Yes.
Here in Laredo it's also common ground for the police officer to start an argument with you. So tell him to please calm down, and tell them if you can record it, okay? Be nice about it, and also tell them to go ahead and get you an offense report. And if need so, you call their supervisors to come in at the same time. The problem is that this happens 3 times every other weekend here in the state of Texas. In Laredo, it's happening again. We've tried to work with it. I've dealt with it. I've seen all the different spectrums of the police, just like you have.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll try to bounce it that it's not a felony, that it's a civil matter, and that the DAs won't arrest
And they won't do anything about it.
So, and that when you talk to the DA will prosecute, but
They need those reports.
they need those reports. So remember, offense report, not
Yes.
incident report, offense
Not
report.
police reports, because they're basically papers that are just stacking up. Because I do have, before I knew of this, the 2503, I had a lot of reports, event reports, police reports that were basically nothing. So now, some police are, not all of them are bad, but there's, a handful that, oh, no, it's not prosecuted, nothing gets done. It just gets stacked away with a bunch of papers. But I'm pretty sure if you keep at it and you keep pushing, something will get done.
Absolutely. Now, explain how did you come of age in understanding what Penal Code 2503 was?
Since I started having a lot of issues throughout the divorce and throughout the custody, I started searching, for groups for support. I came across the Facebook group 2503, Interference with Child Custody.
Well, Mr. George Saldana and
Yes.
those groups.
So I
Great,
looked
great
in-
individuals.
Yes, I looked into it, I joined, and then, everybody posed questions, and you can comment, and so I started with that. This last time that it happened to me, where he kept the kids for me, like one of my friends, she tagged George on something I had commented regarding that, and George reached out to me, do this, do that. So he guided me, and I got in contact with you as well. So you guys guided me into what kind of reports to get, and that whole weekend, I had a good cop every day that I called, every day that I got the report. One of them was like, yeah, I recorded him. One was like, oh, well, nothing gets done. I'm going to give it to you, but nothing gets done anyways. And I did tell him, back in this day, there was actually an arrest here in Laredo. And he was like, really? Because I've been with the force 25 years, I've never seen it. And I was like, you should look it up.
But there was an arrest here in Laredo. But what happens is it's not when the event is happening. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's because the events have taken so much that finally, since we've been bugging the DA and going out and talking to him about the situation, now the DA is collecting those and actually prosecuting those in there. This last year, we came with a resolution to try to even out the playing field, because a lot of police do not want to arrest, because they always say, oh, we're going to have to arrest the mom. But it happens on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
On the spectrum. But yet, if the father is telling them, this is what I want, an offense report, I want a missing child's report, I want a wellness check, and he's asking them, a lot of police get mad.
Yes.
Last spring break, it occurred to me, and the police officer, I'll tell you my note, took 2 steps back and he went for his gun. I told him that's not the way it's going to be. I'm going to call the police station. I told him exactly what's going on. He literally got in his car and left. That happened at 9 o'clock in the evening. At 11:45, his supervisor was there, and that same police officer came back. And I have him on video, and he starts saying, "You're a bad father. Your kids hate you. They don't love you. You're a piece of shit." Saying that on video.
Wow.
Nothing's ever going to happen because Internal Affairs doesn't do anything to these police officers. In fact, they give them a badge,
Yeah.
and they'll give them a little award because they're being great police. So, folks, when this happens, you can get all types of police. Just be very calm and tell them, I want an offense report, I want a wellness check, I want to do, when you're going in with them. And if they do something, call their supervisor, okay? And proceed it, go down the fundamentals. Don't get into the argument because you never know what kind of jackpot you're
Yeah.
going to get.
And you're
But-
not going to win.
Going back to your case, going back to where you were, what do you think changed into you understanding what parent alienation is? Because through interference of child custody, a lot of us go through a divorce and we do not know what parent alienation is. We see something that's going wrong, but when did you realize?
At the beginning, obviously, you're filing for divorce. You don't know what's next or what you should do because it's not like you do it all the time. So basically, I came across where, okay, you know what, I'm going to pick up the kids because they go home with me. No, they don't want to go. And guess what? Nothing can be done because you don't have a court order. Okay? So that's how I started noticing, like, okay, you know what, the kids were being kept from me. I would go home maybe only with the smallest one because he's a baby. Okay, and then suddenly, I would go the next day, same routine. Well, it's because we're going to go to Peter Piper. So they were already brainwashed to what they were going to do, so they wouldn't want to go with me.
Sure.
And it just kept like a repetition, and it just kept happening, and I was like, I started seeing that. So finally, when we got the court order, it's when kind of things I figured, he's gonna follow them. It kind of happened a few times again, even with the court orders. So I started seeing that, like the weekends with him. No, you can't talk to them. No answer. And our kids have a phone. They wouldn't answer text. No answer. Him, no answer. That's a routine that I was seeing. So I was like, okay, that's alienation.
But those are steps in alienation until it gets worse and worse and worse until finally physically they tell you you're not going to see them. And it happens. It's happened to me. Believe me, it's happened to me. And you're not the first one. I'm not the first one, and we're not going to be the last one.
Yeah.
But at least we can console those that happen when it happens and make people realize that it's going on to see if we can try to stop it. Right now, the best bill or the best law is for them to be 50-50 co-parenting to be placed when the divorce comes in, for parent alienation to stop right then there. It can still happen, but at least it stops. And for those police officers that are out there, it happens to police as well.
It does.
In interference with child custody, it happens, and that happens with you guys. You guys are the ones that can stop watering the plant of parental alienation and say, you know what, I'm going to pull this weed out and do something about it.
Yes.
And but there's a new thing here, and I'm proud of the city of Laredo because they all voted unanimously last year to have a resolution for it to be passed in the state that the city of Laredo can give a ticket. So the person is interference with child custody. Well, guess what? Here's a ticket. You can keep them. We can keep, because a lot of police say it's because we don't know what's going on and we're better the child is safe time. Okay, I can assure that. Okay, but if it's happening every weekend, there's something wrong there. So
Yeah.
So what you do is they'll give them a ticket for the person that's keeping the kids or interfering with a visitation, and he has to go to the magistrate. They're not going to like it. On the second time they do it, they'll get another ticket. On the third one, they go straight to jail. So if that happens and that bill is passed, Laredo would bring that into.
I think that would be
And
great.
so I think that'll be good. And I've talked to a lot of police officers, and they kind of smile because that takes a lot from us, and you know what I mean. So I think they like it. But if it goes through in the state will go ahead and make it to all cities can apply that as well if they
I
wish.
think that would be great.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be something, where they're not just called in, okay, another report. Because that's how you feel sometimes when you're calling them, like, oh, here we go again. But I mean, what do? They say, oh yeah, you get the ones that say, no, call us anytime, we're here to help.
Absolutely. You
But
get the
then,
nice ones.
yeah, but then you get the ones that show up the next time, here we go again, another child custody. But I mean, you gotta get these reports for your records, because if not, what are you doing? You're helping them with the alienation because you don't want to do anything. You don't want to voice your concerns. You don't want to speak up. So you do get, let's say out of the, on a weekend, you get maybe one of those cops that are like, as soon as they show up, it's like, what's happening? And you gotta tell them what's happening, but you have the orders. It's right there. They're supposed to be here. He was supposed to bring them back. They're not here. So.
But it's good for that. And folks, if you have any problems with this, give us a call. We'll help you out. We'll direct you to one of the groups that has it's a little bit better in there. And if you guys want to look for these groups, it's on Facebook. It's great. It's Penal Code 2503. Text, look it up. It's a great group to understand the law. Okay, because some attorneys deal with this every weekend, and these attorneys, they could care less about it. The magistrates really do not care about it. Even though they say it's for the benefit of for the child, they could care less about it. The attorneys don't care about it. They care about Ben Franklin Okay?
Whoever has the more.
And they care about, and they don't care about your child. And the police, they could care less about your child. So the only people that are going to care is you, yourself, and your immediate family members. And you have two loving parents that should not be fighting, and you should not be splitting your child from the other, because that child loves both parents equally.
Not put them in that position.
And don't put them in that position, because it'll come back and haunt you. And if you go to the extremes of parental alienation, all of a sudden you're going to get, it's going to come back and haunt you. And when they do step up, everything flips on you. So right now we're starting a group here in Laredo for the kind of help. We won't meet so often, and I know Gigi has started. There's others in here as well. So we'll start meeting and kind of as a support group, because it's hard. Believe me, it's hard when you're driving back from trying to pick them up and you don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
But
and they don't get returned, and like you spend the night, the house is quiet.
Absolutely.
You're supposed to be there.
Absolutely, absolutely, and people do not understand that. But on the other note, we're going to start a movement for April 12th here in Laredo. We're going to have a Zoom meeting because of the way everything's going, and we're going to do it's International Parental Alienation Awareness Day. So the city of Laredo, we have several city council members that are in for that, and I've talked to our county judge. So we're going to kind of get everybody together and kind of share the stories and try to stop this, because it is a form of child abuse.
It is.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, not really. It's just speak up, because I've seen, you're in the group and you see a lot of people that are just like in the back burner, just kind of like looking, and they don't want to speak up. They just, stay quiet, and that's why it keeps happening. Because everybody has to speak up and do something. If not, it's just you're watering that plant too, basically.
Absolutely. Folks, until next time, peace. Remember, stay safe, live life. Let's stop living in fear. When you see your kids, when you see your parents, give them a big hug and tell them you love them.
Yes.
And that's something that we all in this society, something that came forth from last week's storm that hit us, is that people started caring and binding together. Let's keep that binding together, and especially here in Laredo. Right?
Yes. That shows, a lot of people have great hearts.
Absolutely.
They got a little bit, but they can share.
Absolutely. So extend that hand for others. Till next time. Peace.
Today, in America, more than 5.5 million men, women, and children train in a martial art regularly. Buitron Academy has been serving Laredo for over 30 years now. Our adult classes are geared for producing the best in you, teaching you street-ready techniques. With the arts of Savate and Kinpo, you'll learn the traditions of these sciences of combat, as passed down professor to student.
Hello, my name is Stephen Plank, and to whom this may concern. Professor Paul Buitrón is an outstanding human being and a close friend of mine, where his martial art prowess and skill is at equal to his humanity. His teaching capabilities are what one would expect of someone from his caliber. I've been in martial arts since I was 9. I'm 65 years old now. However, if I had a son or daughter who needed to learn self-defense, anti-bullying techniques, and/or gain a higher level of skill in fighting, and in which I could not instruct, then Professor Paul Buitrón would be my choice. His martial understanding of his savate is higher than anyone else I have met. His pedigree is impeccable. He comes highly recommended by myself. Guru Stephen Plank. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Richard Planis. I was the vice president of the IKKA for Ed Parker for many years, 10 years before he died. And I still travel the world teaching all over. And I met lots of people through the years. One of them I want to congratulate is Paul Buitrón down in Laredo, Texas. He's opening a new school, and that's always good to hear. I've known Paul since he was about 18 years old. I couldn't even tell you how old he is now. We've known each other for a long time, and he's like a lot of people should be, takes art seriously. He incorporated many arts, in his school. He does, capoeira, silat, jiu-jitsu, eskrima, kenpo, lots of different things. Any art like myself that you see a value in, you can bring it in and incorporate it if you want to. Anyway, so he's opening a new school, and I'd like to recommend it to anybody who wants to train down in the Laredo area. Meet him, go see him, you'll have fun. Thank you. Bye.
Come train at the best kept secret of Laredo. Give us a call for your free evaluation at 956-401-4868 or check out our website at savat.biz. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook.